coming at you live from my daughter's bedroom.
There we go. Here we go from the Hudson to the Heartland, Manhattan to the Missouri. Here we go. It's Carded Off. James, Greg, and Pete, football podcast. He's got the Polk High touchdown shirt on. You know what?
4 in 1 game.
We might see 4 in 1 game this weekend, and the first one kicking off will be the Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry coming back. Cincinnati, huge win against the Las Vegas Raiders last week. Pete, little bit of a problem with the Raiders in the red zone. Field goals, not touchdowns. They go down. What happened there?
I mean, exactly what you said. Lack of success in the red zone. You know, I'm not going to put any blame on what everybody else thinks. It's the reason why they lost. You know, a technicality on a penalty that probably would have went for a touchdown anyway. But yes, lack of success, 1 for 5 in the red zone. You know, there's a lot of things that are going wrong. You can blame that on the offensive line. You can blame it on the offensive coordinator. Those are obvious things. But, you know, I do blame the referees a lot for that game in the sense that they were very biased in calling a lot of penalties on the Raiders. And I'm not saying that they weren't penalties. They were catching the Raiders in all their penalties, but they were calling no penalties on the Bengals. And the Bengals were holding on significant plays. And that's not something that's not very much talked about. But, you know, me being a fan and having TiVo being able to rewind each play and see holding, and yeah, that's just for another story. I guess one day I'll have the technology to really show that off. But
we'll do the equivalent of the Macho Strader or the Magistrator, as it used to be in the day. James, we saw the Cincinnati Bengals win their first playoff game in 3 decades. So if you were a 30-year-old growing up in the Cincinnati suburbs or maybe northern Kentucky, you might be married with a kid right now, and this is your first Bengals win. Do you feel good for them? What happened there, and where do we see them in the playoffs going forward?
I mean, you feel good for the fan base, but that was the best game of the weekend. I'll say that. It was a putrid weekend for watching football. I mean, the football gods try to get the Cowboys in it despite them sucking late in their game, but you know, it's got to be hard for Pete being a Raiders fan watching every week as the Raiders play both the opposition and the officials. It's tough when you have to play against 2 things. And, it was a, you know, they put the super moniker on it. They had a Monday night game after those awesome last 2 weeks of the season. That was a rough watch all weekend besides the first game. It sucked.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing too, is we're seeing, I mean, I was at the Chiefs game. I went last minute. It was a lot of fun, but it was a blowout. All of these games, these expanded playoffs, you're getting these mismatches, teams that don't belong there. But let's get into the Bengals and the Titans.
I think Pete had something to say about
sorry, go ahead.
I'm saying a lot of the blame always goes on the quarterback. Whenever the teams are doing bad, they always throw it on the quarterback. And I'm listening to Derek Carr get a lot of scrutiny, and I just it's put me on a rampage. I'm on a path to point out all the bad quarterbacks that are in the league that are getting paid a lot of money, that are getting hyped up by ESPN and CBS and NBC. You know, Dak Prescott being one of them, who just played absolutely awful. I mean, you can't put it on anybody else besides Dak. I mean, their star players not showing up, and Dak is he's getting paid all that money. He's top 3 in the league in terms of salaries, making nearly $40 million a year. I mean, the other guys are Patrick Mahomes. I think Aaron Rodgers is making that money. If it's not Aaron Rodgers, it's probably Tom Brady on a 2-year contract. But, you know, when you're on that caliber, it doesn't matter what else is going on in the game. It doesn't matter about the players around you. You know, you're making that much money for a reason. I mean, Patrick Mahomes does it. He could, if he lost his Kelsey, which he did, he played a couple games without Kelsey this year, they were still able to move their offense forward and still win games. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do when you're making that much money. And Dak Prescott is just, I mean, you want to get into another game. Greg, let's start talking about Pittsburgh. Since it's on Kansas City, let's get on that game.
All right, let's move to that. Last week, we had the Pittsburgh Steelers coming into Kansas City, Missouri. It was about 5:45 at night for a 7:15 start. I looked at a friend of mine who's also from New York, and he's moving to Indy in about 3 months. We just said, let's just fucking go. So we went and we watched the Kansas City Chiefs absolutely destroy the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I was tentative last week. I will admit that. I see them winning this week. But what I saw last week at that game was a team clicking on all cylinders. I saw the team that won the AFC Championship the past 2 seasons and the Super Bowl too. I also saw a team that was clicking to the point where you have a tight end throwing a touchdown, and just to rub it into Ben Roethlisberger's end, they threw it to the fat guy who is a backup lineman and only playing because someone was injured. That was the Kansas City Chiefs. What did we see in Kansas City last week? I was in the upper deck. What did you guys see from the television screens?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I saw a slow start. The first quarter, that game was, I was like, where's the Chiefs offense? Like, why aren't they beating this much worse team? I think that if you get off to that kind of slow start and Josh Allen is put in whatever cheat code he put in last week to be going down the field through a Bill Belichick defense like a knife through warm butter. Oh man, I think if you get off to a slow start against the Bills, it could be a different story. But yeah, after the first quarter, the game I was expecting happened, and you absolutely trounced the ill-equipped, didn't belong there Pittsburgh Steelers. Go away, Ben Roethlisberger. You're done. Just go away.
It was a crowd. The crowd was not very kind to him, though there were some terrible towels waving during the game. The way the Steeler fans kind of put his out of sight, out of mind antics, I shouldn't say antics, behavior out of mind is kind of interesting. Pete, what did you
rapey antics?
What did you see in Kansas City last week?
James, that was an excellent forecast talking about that, Mahomes and his slow starts. I mean, we've seen that a lot this year. We've seen a lot of slow starts out of Mahomes. And if the Bills are going to be playing the same kind of football that they played last week, where they scored on the first drive all the way down to the last drive, no punts during the game. The only time they didn't score is when they were in victory formation. This is absolutely insane. And I feel like the Bills are on fire right now. I mean, if that game wasn't being played in Kansas City, I don't think it's even close. But sure. I mean, that's I might be a little biased at saying that. On to the Pittsburgh game, though. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger said that this was going to happen, right? And he did tell everybody. He before the game, he's like, "Oh, we're not the best team, and we're probably going to lose today." And oh my God! I mean, I'm not part of the Pittsburgh blogs. I can't listen to what the fans are saying. I mean, I would be an absolute outrage. That would be something that would resonate with me forever as a Pittsburgh fan, to know that our captain of our team said we were going to lose, and then we got it was a riot. It was just wasn't even close. And the thing is, Greg, to your point about Kelce throwing passes and hitting on all cylinders, JJ Watt got banged out of that game. Like, I don't know what point. There was a point in the game he wasn't playing anymore. Pittsburgh is that bad of a football team where you're able to come out with your trick gadget plays, the stuff that you're just doing for fun. Like, that's how bad that team was. And
Allegretti caught a touchdown pass.
I'm just saying that play call, you think they call that against Buffalo this week? No chance.
Only if they're up. No, I know they won't. And the reason I was there, okay? The reason they did that was because they knew they could pop the crowd, and they did it for that reason, to rub it in, because for whatever reason, the Chiefs and Steelers don't like each other, it seems. Yes, Mahomes will shake Roethlisberger's hand, but I really don't think he likes the guy.
You got a nice homecoming game. You did. You like, I don't know. I don't think many people, it'd be interesting to see the betting lines on that, but I don't think anybody took Pittsburgh, even the most ardent Pittsburgh fans. They were just outmatched.
My friend Danny took Pittsburgh with the cover, with the spread, and he was texting me to tell him to stop scoring. But anyway, so Buffalo and Pittsburgh, you guys are taking Buffalo. I am taking Kansas City. I think. Hold on. You know the bet I made last week? I think I'm going to be buying another one of these if they win that game, because I really do think the winner of this is going to the Super Bowl. And I just want to point out, I am very happy that this hat will not be a Steelers or a Patriots hat when I do buy the AFC Championship hat. As I said last week, whichever team makes it, I will wear that hat on this podcast. Anyway, so
go Bills! Make sure you get one that fits.
Yeah, seriously, man. I got this for $5 at some at this place downtown because they were getting rid of them, because This was last year's Super Bowl, so they just wanted to get rid of them, so I bought one.
Still cool.
Blow them out.
Yeah. All right. So moving on. Did we talk about Bengals and Titans? Do you want to get into that, or do you want to cut it right now and start fresh for a new one?
We're gonna get the next one going.
Yeah, let's get the next one going, guys.
Sure.
We'll be right back after this. This is Carded Off.